Thank you for attending the City of Miami Commission meeting for March 13th, 2025. We're going to get started with our proclamations and recognitions. Okay, so our first proclamation will be given by my colleague, Commissioner Miguel Angel Gabella. I like to say Angel more than Angel. Well, that's the English. It's the English. And you're an angel. That is correct. He said he's an angel. I'm going to agree with him today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is he here? Frank, is he here? Yeah. So today, good morning, first of all. And this gentleman that we're about to give him a proclamation from District 1 is a special guy. I met him early on when I came in about a year and 2 months ago into the job. And he's such a wonderful person, goes out of his way to help people. And he's been promoted, and I just want to make light of that and, congratulate him up here as he deserves. Come on up, Officer Odio.
Oh, sure. All right, good. So good morning, everyone. I think that this is a perfect example of what makes the Miami Police what we are. 8 years as a neighborhood resource officer. They serve as the liaison between the police department and the community. They're the ones that kind of make or break our community policing engagement mission. And I could not have asked for a better officer who now has taken that step to the most important and vital role in the police department, which is sergeant. The first line supervisor really make our department work. I know he's going to do fantastic work as a supervisor, just like he did for the Alapata community. So for everything you've done for not only the Miami Police Department, but for the community of Alapata, which is near and dear and we all love, thank you very much. Best of luck. And now get ready. Now that NRO schedule of daytimes with the weekends off, now you got to work on midnights, working on the weekends. So congratulations on your promotion to you and your family.
Okay, and now we're going to have recognition from our Commissioner, Damian Pardo.
Thank you. Let me just get my... Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Reduce your steps.
That little paper. Thank you. Yeah, just to make sure I get all my...
Burke.
Yep. So, like many of you, having grown up in Miami, as time goes on, we see certain chapters close, and we see little pieces of our character and our identity kind of move on. So our office really wanted to give a proclamation to Austin Burke. It's a beloved institution here in Miami. It was founded in 1945. It has been in business for 80 years. It's a cornerstone in the Miami Fashion District, providing high-quality menswear and tailoring services to generations of people, celebrities, electeds, hardworking folks from everywhere. It was so important in the area. It's really an economic center in its area, in fact, in your district chair, and extremely well known by all of us. So It was founded in 1945 by Austin Burke. In 1980s, it came under new leadership with Austin Barry Burke and Kenny Sager. And it did the wardrobe for Miami Vice, The Devil Wears Prada, Striptease, and it's been an incredibly resilient business. It handled all the transformations in Wynwood, a global pandemic, and all the changes in fashion. Austin Burke's closing marks the end of an era in Miami in many ways. So join me in celebrating Austin Burke and thanking Barry Burke and Kenny Sager for their decades of service and their economic influence in our community and fabric. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, this is one of theirs. Probably most of our Sergeant at Arms are wearing some of theirs. Comes with the pocket square. They're fantastic.
Hey, I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. I've been doing this since I'm a young man. Now I'm a little older, and I appreciate the 305. The greatest place in the world, and Austin Burke was so happy to stay in business for so many years, and we took care of the right people at the right time, and we're still in our heart. But I want to thank the community. God bless.
It's been one hell of a ride, let me tell you. I've been with this guy for the last 40 years, and we've seen a lot of great things, especially down in Wynwood. But, you know, all good things must come to an end. I've got 3 beautiful grandchildren. I got 2 beautiful daughters, my wife. Got a lot of things planned out for our new chapter in our life. And I just want to thank all the people that have patronized Austin Burke throughout the years. God bless all of you. Thank you. I love my daughter and her
Family, anybody related, please come up for the picture. That would be wonderful. We definitely want you in the picture.
Always serving us. All right, good start to the day. I want to take a moment, as we often do, and recognize former elected officials who are with us today. Agustin Barrera, who's the vice chair of our UDRB, but was a former school board member, so thank you for being here. And I saw former Commissioner Frank Carollo as well, so I wanted to recognize him. He was here in the audience a little while ago. Before we continue, I would like to have a moment of silence. There's going to be 2. The first is for former Congressman Lincoln Diaz-Balart, who was a giant in our community, fighter of freedom, fighter against the tyranny 90 miles away from us in Cuba. in lifelong public servant, dedicated father and husband. And I'd like to observe a moment of silence. Please observe a moment of silence for the congressman, please. Thank you very much. And then, if you could just remain standing, thank you for that. I wanted to observe a moment of silence also for a person who had a big impact on our city, which was Jose Marrero. Jose, for those of you, I see some of you guys nodding your head and smiling. Jose worked first for Commissioner, then Regalado, in his office as a constituent service coordinator, then took on that same role for the mayor when the commissioner became the mayor, and then when the mayor left, did it for Commissioner Reyes up until recently. He was someone who cared deeply about the community, had an insatiable work ethic, knew how to get things done, and was just a very pleasant, hardworking, energetic individual who I think embodied the spirit of how can I help. And so I'd like to observe a moment of silence for him as well, please. Thank you. And finally, I have the distinct honor and privilege. It's not always that you get to do something nice for one of your colleagues who you respect, care about, and think the world of, but for Women's History Month, everyone here got to choose someone that they wanted to designate as an exemplary woman in our community, and I got to pick my chairwoman. That's who I picked. The first woman chair in the history of the city of Miami. And so with deep gratitude and admiration, we want to honor your unwavering dedication, your trailblazing spirit, and your outstanding leadership. And it quotes Proverbs, "She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue." And I think her students who are here would attest to that, who are here in her class. She is a role model for many of us. She keeps us in line most of the time. And she does her best, I can tell you that much. And, she's someone who I deeply admire as a human being and someone who I consider a friend. Thank you.
So beautiful and thoughtful. Thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. It is an honor to be the first woman to chair the City of Miami Commission and the first Guyanese woman to be elected to the City of Miami Commission. And he's also so thoughtful in it has red because he knows red is my color. So thank you all. Thank you. It is really an honor and a privilege to serve. Thank you. And at this time, we are going to have Father Reggie from the Notre Dame de Haiti Catholic Church to join us and start our meeting in prayer. Hi, Father.
Good morning. May I kindly ask you to please bow your heads as we pray for God's blessings. In the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 52, verse 7, it is written, "How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news. How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring glad tidings to the poor, the marginalized, the broken, and those who are in search of meaning in their lives. How beautiful on the mountain are the feet of your servants, our chairwoman, the commissioners, and all those that you have called and appointed to be vessels of hope for your people. And so, Lord, as they have come together this morning for this board meeting, we ask that you fill each and every one of them with the gift of the Holy Spirit, the spirit of discernment, the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of courage and justice, the spirit of compassion, and most especially, the spirit of communion and solidarity, so that they can work together for the people and not against them. So that in whatever they do, they can remain faithful to their calling and bear witness to your kingdom. Bless them with good health. Bless the families, their endeavors, and bless each and every one of them who assist them, so that in whatever they do, in the people that they are, they can continue to be witnesses of your love in who they are and what they do. We ask all this in the name of Jesus the Lord. He who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, God, forever and ever. And everybody says, Amen.
Thank you, Father Reggie. And at this time, if my students could join me, I am a professor at Florida International University, and I'd like them to come up. I'm teaching Miami politics. You guys come up. They're like in shock. I give them extra credit for attending commission meetings and different events, and I'd like them to come and join me as we say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, by liberty and justice for all. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, would you please read your statement?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. George Weishong, City Attorney, City of Miami. Detailed information about the processes, order of business, rules of procedure, and scheduling or rescheduling of City Commission meetings can be found in Chapter 2, Article 2 of the City Code, a copy of which is available online at www.municode.com. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the City Clerk and comply with the related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the City Clerk's office or online at www.municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of this City Code section is available at the office of the City Clerk or online at www.municode.com. City of Miami requires that anyone requesting action before the City Commission must disclose, before the hearing, any consideration provided or committed to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to City Code Section 2-8. Any documents offered to the City Commission that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. In accordance with Section 2-33F and G of the City Code, the agenda and the material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at www.miamigov.com. The meeting of the Miami City Commission is a limited public forum. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Public comment will begin at approximately 10:15 a.m. and remain open until public comment is closed by the chairperson. Any person making offensive remarks or who becomes unruly in the City Commission chambers will be barred from further attending City Commission meetings and may be subject to arrest. No clapping, applauding, heckling, or verbal outbursts in support or opposition to a speaker or his or her remarks shall be permitted. No signs or placards shall be allowed in the Commission chambers. Persons exiting the Commission chambers shall do so quietly. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by submitting written comments via the online comment form. Please visit www.miamigov.com/meeting instructions for detailed instructions on how to provide public comment using the online public comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been and will be distributed to the elected officials, their staff, and city administration throughout the day so that the elected officials may consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials, their staff, and city administration up until the chairperson closes public comment. Public comment may also be provided here live at City Hall, located at 3500 Pan American Drive, Miami, Florida, subject to any and all city rules as they may be amended. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the public must first state their name, their address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the city clerk. The city has provided different public comment methods to indicate, among other things, the public support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at the City Commission in compliance with Section 286.0114 4C Florida statutes. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. Please note, commissioners have generally been briefed by city staff and the city attorney's office on items on the agenda today. Anyone wishing a verbatim record of an item considered at this meeting may request it at the Office of Communications or view it online at www.miamigov.com. Planning and zoning items shall proceed according to Section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 Zoning Ordinance. Parties for any PZ item, including any applicant, appellant, appellee, city staff, and any person recognized by the decision-making body as a qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives and any experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellant, or appellee may be physically present at City Hall to be sworn in by oath or affirmation by the city clerk. The members of the City Commission shall disclose any ex parte communications to remove the presumption of prejudice pursuant to Florida Statute Section 286.0115 and Section 7.1.4.5 of the Miami 21 Zoning Ordinance. The order of presentation shall be as set forth in Miami 21 and in the City Code. Staff will briefly present each item to be heard. The applicant will present its application or request to the City Commission. If the applicant agrees with the staff recommendation, the City Commission may proceed to its deliberation and decision. The applicant may also waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. For appeals, the appellant will present its appeal to the City Commission, followed by the appellee. Staff will be allowed to make any recommendation they may have. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices. This meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV, the city's Facebook page, the city's Twitter page, the city's YouTube channel, and Comcast Channel 77, whose broadcast will also have closed captioning. Pursuant to Advisory Legal Opinion AGO 2020-03 issued on March 19, 2020, the Florida Attorney General opined that, consistent with prior Attorney General opinions, a member of a local governing body who is physically unable to attend a meeting because of medical treatment or due to medical reasons may participate and vote in meetings where a quorum of the other members is physically present. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Mr. City Clerk, will you please read your statement?
Thank you, Chair. The procedures for individuals providing testimony sworn in for planning and zoning items and any quasi-judicial items on today's City Commission agenda will be as follows. The members of city staff or any other individuals required to be sworn in who are currently present at City Hall will be sworn in by me, the City Clerk, immediately after I finish explaining these procedures. Those individuals who are appearing remotely may be sworn in now or at any time prior to the individual providing testimony for planning and zoning items and or quasi-judicial items. Commissioners, are you comfortable with all the notice provisions set forth in these uniform rules and procedures we have established for this meeting?
Yes.
Chair, might administer the oath for the planning and zoning items?
Please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If you will be speaking on any of today's planning and zoning items, the PZ items, may I please have you stand and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at today's hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your response is? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, will there be any items from this agenda that will be withdrawn and or deferred?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Mr. City Attorney, Mr. City Clerk. At this time, the administration would like to defer and or withdraw the following items. Make sure you have enough ink in your pens, and I'll try to go slow because there's a lot of items to defer. CA 14 to be deferred to April 10th. PH 5 to be withdrawn. RE 9 to be withdrawn. RE 10 to be indefinitely deferred. RE 21 to be deferred to April 10th. RE 23 to be deferred to April 10th. FR 2 to be indefinitely deferred. BC 1 to be withdrawn. BC 7 to be withdrawn. BC 8 to be withdrawn. BC 9 to be withdrawn. BC 14 to be withdrawn. BC 16 to be withdrawn. BC 19, to be withdrawn. DI 2 to be deferred to April 10th. And DI 3 to be indefinitely deferred. That concludes the items.
I'm now going to ask my colleagues, Commissioner Gabella, are there any items that you would like to have withdrawn or deferred?
No, not at this time.
Commissioner Pardo?
No, but I'd like to co-sponsor CA9.
CA9 as co-sponsor. At this time, may I have a motion to accept the agenda?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Motion carries unanimously. The agenda has been set, and at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Barrera to come forward, and if there are any other persons for board reports, you're going to give us the UDRB report?
Good morning, Agustin Barrera with at 5030 Southwest 65th Avenue. Madam Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Manager, I have the pleasure of serving as the Vice Chair of the UDRB Board. The board is made up of 9 professionals, architects, urban planners, and landscape architects. It's been a very busy year. As you can see when you look over downtown Miami, you see all the cranes that are up and putting new buildings. The board last year had 11 meetings and 1 workshop. We reviewed 46 projects. The majority of those projects were multifamily residential rental projects, with a small portion of those being condos, a couple of office buildings. The UDRB serves a very important role in the community. It ensures that the projects that are recommended to the Commission for approval not only meet the design intent of Miami 21, but also the urban scale of the neighborhoods that they're being placed. And today, with the Live Local Act, that's even more important, because we have to ensure, in making our recommendations, that we try to make sure that the scale of the projects that are being proposed, again, don't work within the scale of the city of Miami. Working with staff and in our workshops, we've become very efficient. There's no backlog. We approve projects. We recommended moving them forward to ensure that there are no delays in construction and projects in the city of Miami. The city staff has done a great job in updating the process, maintaining the UDRB website up to date, and improving the checklist so that all professionals, all applicants can make sure that they can meet the applications in a timely process. The board has run very efficiently. The average cost or indirect cost for fiscal year 23-24 was $30,000. And I'm open for any questions or comments you may have.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your work.
I don't see any questions. Thank you. Thank you for the
All right.
report.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Is there anyone else here who has a report, a board report? Seeing none, I'm going to open the floor for public comments. Anyone who wishes to speak on any item before us, please come to the podium. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ms. Chairwoman King. I request an interpreter to translate my words into Spanish.
Okay, your name and address for the...
My name is Dr. Jeffrey Dorfman. I live at 2020 North Bayshore Drive, Miami.
I'm not sure how long it will take to get the interpreter here for you.
She's
oh,
right,
you're here.
She's right
okay,
there.
Come on over.
This is for the benefit of the people who may watch this later on YouTube and may not have
And
a translator.
this is, what item are you speaking on?
I am speaking in support of RE23 and RE9.
RE23 was deferred. RE9 was withdrawn, and RE23 was deferred until April. Is there another item that you would like to speak on?
I would like to say just congratulations to Commissioner Gabella for his appointment as chairman of the Bayfront Park.
Okay.
We support your interest in honest government.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for participating. Good morning.
Need to get set up, Commissioner. Maybe you can go to the other podium, please.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairwoman King, Horacio Stewart Aguirre, as chairman of the Miami River Commission. It's my privilege and pleasure to serve in this post as an appointee of the governor of the state of Florida. Before I do so, I do want to thank you and your other colleagues here on the dais for my very recent appointment to the Bayfront Trust. It's a privilege and a pleasure to continue serving our community and continuing the legacy of this great property and this great park for the downtown and all of the residents of the city of Miami. On behalf of the Miami River Commission, we're supporting strongly the renewal of the contract with Water Management Technologies. This is for a vessel that is the cleanup boat, the red boat that goes up and down the Miami River and Little River as well, and all of the bayfront properties that abut the city of Miami. This is the only vessel that is doing almost 6.5 days of work, almost 20 hours a day. They clean up tons and tons per day of garbage. They also remove all bacteria and germs in the water through an ultraviolet technology and leave the water very, very clean. This is indispensable. It's the only vessel under contract in all of Miami-Dade County to do this. Miami River Commission also strongly supports the Florida Inland Navigation District, formerly known as FIND, for a grant to improve Jose Marti Park, a very valuable piece of park that serves a great and important community in our downtown nearby area. Miami River Commission also supports the FIND grant to remove a large number of derelict vessels that are sunk or half sinking on the Miami River, Little River, or in the Bay Area, and some in Coconut Grove within eyesight of where we're standing. We also support the additional FIND grant for monies for the Marine Patrol and the fire rescue vessels.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, through the chair, can I just say something? Horacio, stay right there. I want to put on the record, and I'm speaking now, has nothing to do with what you're talking about, but I want to talk about the 22nd Avenue Bridge and the conversations that you and I have had on the bridge closing, because I want our residents to know, my residents, District 1, that we are working on this. The county has assured us that they're going to be open in 3 weeks. I think you've had some conversations regarding that. I just want to put it out there so the residents know that we are working on it, that we are on top of it, and that soon the bridge will be opening up back for traffic, because it's causing, it's wreaking havoc on 27th Avenue, 17th Avenue, 12th Avenue, especially on 12th and 17th, where the fire and rescue go through to get people to the hospital on emergencies. Is there anything, do we have any updates on that?
Well, actually, I do, Commissioner. The project is going to continue through August, but there is hope from Miami-Dade County. For the record, the city of Miami does not own that bridge. It's owned by Miami-Dade County. Also, something that few people understand and don't appreciate is that the Miami River is a federally navigable waterway. So hence the bridge openings are actually not determined by me, the Miami River Commission, or by you or by Miami-Dade County. It's federal law. Those openings are enshrined in national law. They're enforced by the United States Coast Guard in concert with the operator, namely Miami-Dade County, and with consultations with the City of Miami leadership and the Miami River Commission. We would hope that we can create a protocol so that in the future, when there is an emergency situation, when one key bridge is blocking traffic, that we can modify the bridge openings so that we don't create the chaos that we're having today on 12th Avenue, 5th Street Bridge, 17th Avenue, and 27th Avenue, because right now we do have chaos.
Yeah, and that was my concern, that people, they really don't know what's going on. They know it's closed. They know it's hampering, traffic. It's wreaking havoc, but they don't really know, the crux of the problem. And number one, it's a safety issue. There's corrosion under the bridge, and I think that we will want to lean on we want to be prudent and make sure that no car goes into the river rather than, what we're doing now. But I just want to put on the record, you and I have had conversations on trying to prevent boat traffic because of this bridge being, but per the federal guidelines, we are not able to do that at this moment.
Well, actually, the idea.
Gentlemen, I think we're steering a little bit far off.
Yes,
We're getting
far
far
away. I'm about to.
Go ahead.
I'll report to you whenever you want.
No.
Chair.
You can finish your thought.
No, what I was going to say is I think that perhaps you and other leaders of the city of Miami ought to join the Miami River Commission and issue a press release and invite the electronic and the printed news media to better inform the public on this.
Thank you, Horacio.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. Elvis Cruz, 631 Northeast 57th Street here on item RE15, which is funding for the Legion Park Shoreline Project. So here we have the boat ramp at Legion Park. You see that it has a parking lot that had existed since about 1965. And here it is today. It has been sodded over as part of some sort of project. This came as a big surprise to the public because we no longer have a place to park our cars when we launch our boats, which now are going to be restricted to kayaks only. Nevertheless, the public needs a place to park. And here's the plan that is in the agenda today that you're going to be voting funding for. You can see that the parking lot has been converted to open lawn space. I hope this is not an intentional move to suppress the public's usage and enjoyment of a waterfront public park. I hope this is not an example of what is called hostile architecture. So I also want to point out that the plan calls for a 15-foot wide baywalk. You can see it there, highlighted in red. 15 feet is far too wide. Commissioner King, you were at the meeting when we discussed this, and the public voted for 6 feet overwhelmingly. I understand that to change it to 6 feet, there would need to be a code change to Miami 21. That's not hard to do. Please change the code. You do it every meeting. There are 10 separate code changes on today's agenda. It's very doable. So please do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Alex Uribe with office at 2800 Ponce de Leon Boulevard. I'm here to speak in support of RE16. RE16 is a resolution to expand the hours of operation for businesses in Wynwood, for service establishments in Wynwood on certain special dates, including Formula One, Miami Music Week, Art Basel, and generally around events that bring a lot of people to the city of Miami, that showcase our city. And this is a very important time for the businesses in Wynwood. This is hugely important to them, to their employees, and just want to speak in support and want to just make sure or clarify that I believe there's a substitution as to the hours here, and just to make sure that when it gets passed, we pass it with the correct hours. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Rick Madan, President of the Biscayne Neighborhoods Association, and I reside at 2900 Northeast 7th Avenue. So just to clarify, RE 9, 10, and 23 have either been withdrawn or deferred.
Yes.
So I understand the need for deferrals and withdrawals. The community makes an effort to come here and share with you feedback, and I'm sure you want feedback. So I would request if these could be published the day before, it would allow citizens of Miami to decide, hey, okay, I don't have to skip work this morning and go to the meeting, because as commissioners, I would think you would want input from your constituents. So I would request that. I guess I can comment on RE5. It's the funding for protecting the Margaret Pace Park shoreline. So hopefully we can get that grant approved, because Phase 1 construction is approved and needs to begin. It's long overdue, so hopefully we can get going on Phase 1 construction. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Happy Women's History Month. Mr. Co-Chair, City Commissioners, Mr. Manager, and Mr. City Attorney. My name is Terrell Fritz, 111 East Flagler Street, and Executive Director of the Flagler District Bid. We're here to speak in support of SR2. On behalf of the board of the Flagler District Bid, we appreciate the hard work that the Commission and City staff have put to refining the special events permission process. We are extremely pleased and thankful that the 10-event cap per organization per year was restored at first reading, addressing our primary concern with the initially proposed 4-event limit per location. Since the Flagler Specialty District was approved in 2018, the area has seen remarkable growth. Events like weekly Julia and Henry's Flagler Market on Sundays, the DDA's holiday lighting, and Miami Art Week events last fall have drawn tens of thousands of visitors just in recent months. And as completion of the Flagler Beautification Festival Street construction project is finally near, I have never said that before, and I want to thank the city manager and the administration for stepping in and really getting that going. So again, as the Flagler Street construction project is finally nearing completion, we have many more events and activations planned. We urge the City Commission to approve this legislation, and we look forward to continuing to work with the city to develop future legislation, including a dedicated framework for community events to support revitalization of Miami's original downtown commercial district. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, Yanni Cox, 2400 Southwest 3rd Ave. So if I'm not mistaken, I can't speak regarding Mr. Pardo's term limits. Is that correct?
That item has been deferred, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I think it's very disrespectful, because I think the people come here, the workers, people come, they have work, they come to speak on these issues, and I believe that what the person said in front of me is that I believe that this should be posted a day or two in advance, so people like me don't have to just sit here and they can come and speak regarding this issue. But I think it's just extremely important that we have term limits in the city of Miami, especially non-consecutive term limits. I do believe that there shouldn't be a revolving door regarding.
That item has been deferred.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and my Commissioner, Manager. My name is Jihad S. Rashid. I reside at 3629 Grand Avenue. I'm here to speak in favor, enthusiastically, on item RE15. I'm subscribed to the concept of don't curse the dirty glass, but put a clean glass next to it. This project, its sponsors are people who are constantly engaged in the community. They're known to the community. They're there hot and cold and good times and bad times, and they don't sally forth just to do a self-serving project. I think it in itself has merit. Other projects have merit, and they don't expropriate other accomplishments, and they don't exploit the elderly and the legacy residents to do their projects. So, and I want to commend District 2 for doing a lot of dynamic things. For been in this community for over 30 years with over 45 single-family houses on my belt, and the proponent of the Gibson Plaza, I think you're taking the pace and the batons on. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, how are you? My name is Nadir Perez. 610 Tamiami Canal Road, Miami, Florida 33144. Here in support of Resolution 25. To be honest, commissioners have a role and a responsibility to represent their community. As time progresses, when you hold office for so long, it gets jaded and misrepresented, and you might represent the wrong interest. So at this time, I'm speaking here because I want to instill in all of the commissioners to do the right thing. And I know you have it because you represent this community and you were voted in with a
Sir?
purpose.
Okay. What item were you speaking on?
RE 25. Unequivocally support that Resolution 25 that you guys vote for it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Mina McNeil. I am the Executive Director of the Martin Luther King Economic Development Corporation, and I'm here to speak in support of items PH10 and PH11. These are our kitchen incubator programs and our Wills to Work program. And without the continuous support of the City of Miami, neither of these programs would be possible. In terms of our kitchen incubator program, with that program, we're able to take small business owners in District 5 and give them an actual place to base their food-based businesses out of. But one of the great benefits of this program to the community is that they've been able, since its inception, to provide countless meals to seniors, also partner with schools and school-aged children, and also provide disaster relief assistance, whether it's been natural disasters that have hit South Florida or elsewhere in the state. So if we could get support this year, that would continue on our mission and also help our participants be on the cusp of getting their own brick and mortar. For our PH11, our Wills to Work program, we have some of our participants here. They were a little nervous about speaking in front of this esteemed board, but we will again ask for support for this year's class. We estimate we will be able to do 6 participants if we're able to get funding. And with this program, our participants have been able to free up time by not having to rely on our public transportation system. They've been able to seek employment in a bigger area, and also the freed up time helps them to do things like be able to take classes, spend more time with their children. So both of these programs would be great opportunities to give back to not only District 5, but the greater Miami community, and we thank you in advance for any support we could get.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Reynold Martin. I live at 6201 Southwest 61st Street. I'm here on behalf of Grove Rights and Community Equity, where I am the chair. We have conferred, and we'd like to say to you that we support RE17. We like the idea of increasing affordable housing in our community, and we would encourage you to work closely with some of the churches that have property that would like to use it for this purpose as well. We need housing in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Edward Martos, office at 2800 Ponce de Leon Boulevard. I'm here on behalf of Waste Connections to give you all a very big thank you, and a very big thank you to your staff, to Barbie Hernandez, to Wade Sanders on SR1. The original language of the ordinance was not great, and now I think it is great. And I appreciate the time to work with your staff, to work out kinks, and to come to a substitution item that I think is going to accomplish all of your goals and really work for the city. So thank you, and thank you to your staff. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Commission. Grant Stern, 425 Northeast 22nd Street. I'm here to comment on RE5 in favor, and hope that gets passed, and in favor of RE24, notifying the Commission when copious amounts of taxpayer funds are spent on council defending commissioners, which seems to be a problem in this city because of people with smug looks, almost on the verge of laughing about the waste of taxpayer dollars, people who go on 9-minute rants and then complain that they haven't had the time to defend themselves. They're against such things, right? And that's pretty sad. You know, there's been a problem in this city, and it's with public corruption, but also there's a problem with just the management of these meetings, right? Everybody walks up here and complains about the deferrals, right? Why not have a scheduling meeting on Wednesday nights, virtually, so that everybody can weigh in and try to unclog these agendas before 9:30 in the morning when public comment starts, to give people the opportunity to speak on these matters? Because these are really important matters. You know, whether the charter is fixed or not, to block a loophole that allows people that have like crime family syndicates to try and run their relatives, it's a big deal. We shouldn't be just deferring this forever. You know, allow these things to be turned into discussion items if they're going to be deferred. Maybe do that. Say, hey, we're going to have discussion items for the deferred items. But deferring regularly, I mean, I've spoken on RE10 3 different times, and now it's indefinitely deferred. So, I mean, my final request is just for a discussion item about interlocal agreements and about the way that the special districts of this city are being managed. We're all here for the same reason, because we care about the city. We don't want our tax dollars being wasted by crooks, criminals, and their wives. And we want to know when the right time to show up and talk about these things are. And this commission, I absolutely know, is capable of setting a better mechanism for all of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good, Marion and Chairwoman. How are you doing? Good morning to all. My name's Jose Figueroa. I'm here.
Sir,
I'm sorry. Good morning to all.
Good morning.
My name's Jose Figueroa. I'm representing the Puerto Rican Chamber and also Dynamic CDC. I support the Wheels to Work program. I think it's a very good program. And it helps a lot of people. I personally know a few people that have gotten these vehicles, and I support it 101%. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Nicole Desiderio, 900 Biscayne Bay. I know some items were deferred. Unfortunately, I'm here anyway, but happy to see you all. RE5, I do want to support the funding for Margaret Pace Park. I did attend some of those meetings where they discussed the plan for the park. They did use a professional park planner, and they consulted with the community multiple times to come together with a master plan for that park. So I thought that was really great. But I do want to say that I would say the majority of the residents in that area had a major problem with a 2-story office building being built right in the middle of that park. There was a huge uproar about it. By the time of the 3rd meeting, the people had basically given up. I spoke to someone there that was part of the planning team, and they basically told me, I'm sorry, our hands are tied. The city is making us do it. So that's a little unfortunate. Commissioner Gabella, I saw that you withdrew an item. I believe it was RE9. Sad to see that, because I was in support of that for you.
No, it's going to be substituted with another item.
Oh, okay.
Just want to make that clear. RE what?
It's RE24.
Okay.
Was there an RE9 about the attorney's fees? I thought that was withdrawn.
Yeah, RE24 is replacing RE9.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever that is, I support your stance on that. All right. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Kendrick Rice, and I'm in support of Wheels to Work program because it helped me a lot with my mom, transporting her from the hospital to the doctor's office and things like that. I just wanted to say I'm in support of the Wheels to Work program.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for listening to all of us. And I wanted to really, really commend you all and thank you from the bottom of my heart for protecting the Bay and our spoil islands. I can't tell you how happy that makes me. So bravo, seriously. I know we're not supposed to clap, I'm sorry. In any case, I'm here for information more than anything, but I am in support of RE15, Living Shoreline, awesome. But I'm confused about all of these PZs, 1, 3, and FR2, and there's 10 separate code changes. I need more information. As you guys know, I'm a realtor environmentalist. I do understand the need for growth. Which committees are planning all of this? And I know that last month you voted on changing zoning and upzoning single-family home neighborhoods. How can I get more information on that?
I'm going to have the manager's office address that separately. They can answer all of your inquiries and tell you who you can speak to or what resources you can use to get more information on those.
Okay, and I do have just two more things. I would like to be considered, and again, this is more information, on BC 14 for joining that council on global competitiveness. I feel like I need a lot of information before I can render opinions on any of these items. And then I also have ideas for smart growth where we can have maybe LEED certification or something equivalent or stronger for properties that are over certain square footage, building around trees, building, if they take up green space, making sure they replace the green space in the property, et cetera, et cetera. I have a lot of ideas.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone on the dais. My name is Tracy Kelly, and I'm a resident of District 5. My commissioner is Chairwoman Christine King. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Wheels to Work program. I was selected and nominated in 2024 to be a participant and a recipient of a 2024 Toyota Corolla. And I wanted to let the dais know what that meant for me and my family. Yesterday morning, my daughter was just certified as a Miami-Dade County Corrections Officer. We went to her graduation. Because of I was able to receive this car as a help for me and my family, it has been very trying for me and my family. My daughter was literally in boot camp for about 6 to 8 weeks. And as a grandmother, I had to take over the duties of taking care of my grandkids, making sure that they got to school, making sure that I was able to take them to the doctor, making sure I picked them up from school just to give her a chance to go for her dreams. I'm also getting ready to start going to school in the summer session at Miami-Dade College for paralegal studies. And because of the Wheels to Work program, it has given me the opportunity to do the things that I need to do. I am so honored and I'm so appreciative of Chairwoman in my district. I'm here for you guys. Thank you so very much. This is an awesome program. We are going to be doing classes, I believe, soon on financial literacy and stuff like that. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairwoman and Commissioners and staff for allowing me to stand before you today. My name is Chaplain Young. I'm chaplain of Freedom Prison and Jail Ministry. I assist inmates and homeless people that are struggling to get housing. 500 Northwest 2nd Avenue in the city of Miami. I don't just work in that district. I work in any of the districts that you have called me to talk with me. But what I want to speak on today is RE11 and PH11, RE13. As I look at the agenda, this go around, it has a lot about housing and affordable housing. I am so glad to hear and see that you are moving in this direction. This is the direction that we need to go. Speaking from the ground, who walks the street of Miami, who goes into the shelters and see people who are trying to get into shelters, and those who are in the shelters can't get out of the shelters because there's no affordable housing for them in your districts. And that's all your districts, because I walk all your districts and talk to those who are living in a car, who are living in their home, 2 families in a home, who really do need these affordable housing that you are pushing for. So once again, I want to commend you. You're going in the right direction, because it's so needed that we continue to push for really affordable housing in the city of Miami. I thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Just wanted to express, Miguel Soliman, 1436 Southwest 6th Street. Just wanted to express my support for items CA2 for a fire rescue vessel, CA3 also for a fire rescue vessel, and CA4 for our police department equipment that they need. Our first responders are always taking care of us, and I think when they ask for something, we should take care of them too. Just want to express that. And on a note, just wanted to make a comment about the carnival in Calle Ocho. The carnival, the music in the carnival. My wife and I live 2 blocks away, and we could hear the music in our living room, like if we were standing right there. Commissioner Carollo, you do an excellent job with Viernes Pequeña Habana and the music. We never hear the music in our home, and everybody has a great time. I'm afraid Calle Ocho has turned into, I've heard a lot of comments from people saying that it's not a family event anymore. It's just a street party to get drunk with music as loud as they can possibly have it, with no respect or concern for the elderlies that live right there on 15th and on 22nd Avenue. There's 2 elderly buildings in that area. And if I was 2 blocks away and the level of the music in my house, inside my house, was higher than my television, I can't even imagine what those poor elderlies were going through. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention and see if next year we could control it a little bit better. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I answer that, Chair?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Miguel, excuse me, Brenda. I fully agree with what you stated. I heard someone here mention also the trash. This is not the old Carnival Miami that we remember.
No, it's not.
The kinds of people that are coming are not the same. The kinds of trash that's being just thrown everywhere, it's unreal. I've received complaints from several of the merchants in the area.
Mm-hmm.
They're not happy with it. Even the music that's being played, not only is it as loud and louder, I think, than what you're saying, you're being kind, I think, but the performers that they're bringing are not to quality. The other thing that's happening is you're having many gangbangers, gang members from many different cities in the country that are coming just for this. And it's not a family-oriented atmosphere like we used to have. It's not a pleasant situation. In fact, I would say look at what they're doing, the Kiwanis, in Coral Gables, and look what they do in Little Havana.
That's right.
Coral Gable is being given the sirloin. We're getting the bone, and a bad bone at that. So I think that we need to consider what's going on there, and I would encourage you to go out, speak to the merchants, and maybe you could get some kind of petition going from many of the merchants, because this is not bringing more business to Little Havana. It's taken away from Little Havana. It's driving the residents, insane between the music, all kinds of people taking over. They're parking everywhere, and it's just the outright rudeness that's being seen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Brenda Betancourt, 1436 Southwest Street. Thank you for being here again. I am supporting RE16, support RE24, SR3, and SR4. But commenting about the sad part of what Miami sees as a little Havana, and I think Commissioner Damien understand because we work on a gay age festival for kind of a while, and we support all those festivals. As a representative for Calle Ocho Chamber of Commerce, we are having a lot of issues. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. The festival that used to be so famous for our children and myself when I was a teenager, be able to be there and participate for such a great time is not there any longer. And I would take that advice, Commissioner Carollo, in speaking with the owners of the businesses, which I represent many of them, and most of them, they're closed during this time. They don't want to participate, and they still get damages from these festivals. They do graffiti, they break into their space, even though the properties has been closed to avoid all these issues. But it's not just about that. I think it's responsibility of every single one of us to make sure that we express these to Kiwanis, that they need to do a better job. The same way they do to Coral Gables, they should do it to the city of Miami. In reference of just trying to keep up with what's going on with the co-enforcement, I hope that you guys are working really hard and try to get the new director. Just think about how many positions available or empty are in that department. That now we overwhelming has a lot of things going on. So please keep in mind, and I hope that this resolution for the low-income housing really pass. We actually need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to comment for public comment period? Seeing none, the public comment period is now closed. Mr. City Attorney, we've heard a few people get up to say about the withdrawals and the deferrals. Can you explain why that happens on the day of?
Yeah, let me try.
And whether we would be able to notify the community in advance of maybe the night before of withdrawals or deferrals.
Right. Thank you, Madam Chair. I can appreciate the frustration, but the issue comes to basically the procedure of the City Commission. Once an item is placed on an agenda, it becomes an item for the City Commission, not for an individual commissioner, for the manager, for myself. So only the commission, by a vote, a majority vote, can either defer, remove an item. So essentially that's why we have to do the deferrals, the modifications, the substitutions here at City Commission, because it's the City Commission's item, and the City Commission is a majority of the members of the City Commission, not an individual commissioner. So it's unfortunate that that's how it happens, but that's why we do the things we do, and I hope that explanation helps a little bit. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, can I, with your permission?
Please.
Maybe, I heard what you said, but maybe we do a day where, for example, on Wednesdays, it would close out on Tuesday for any one of us to defer. This is something that we do by honor, right? On Tuesday, we have till Tuesday deadline if we're going to defer anything, and then whatever it is on Wednesday, we can, put it out to the public. I don't know. I'm just, I don't know if my colleagues are.
Based on what he said, we would have to
No,
meet.
I heard that part.
Yeah, right.
We would have to meet
And take a
prior
vote.
to take the vote.
And there's
Commissioner
no,
Pardo?
yeah, my only question is, there's no way with an appropriate disclaimer that we can say these are tentative potential deferrals, just like a warning notice? So
Yeah, that's what I meant. Actually.
I think sometimes the agenda prints with a may be deferred or may be withdrawn. So, but a lot of times it's business decisions or real world things that happen that eliminate the time. But yes, we could always put, and sometimes you will see that, may be withdrawn or may be deferred. But ultimately, the public needs to know that even though it says may be deferred, may be withdrawn, a majority of the commissioners might say, I want to hear it. So it requires a vote of the majority to remove
I
that.
think for example, today, the items that were deferred as a courtesy to one of our colleagues who is not here. We would not know that until we get here. But I think individually, if we know that we're going to defer an item individually, we could maybe notify our community of that this item may be deferred, or I intend to defer this item individually. So the community will at least be on notice, perhaps. But I understand the issue where we just can't summarily say, because we have to meet and we have to approve the withdrawal or the deferral item as a commission, not each of us individually, to say, Mr. Manager, I'm going to defer this, so then the manager, because maybe an item that I want to defer, you guys don't want to defer, and the vote fails. So it's all about, it's a procedural thing.
Madam Chair, I would say that we do a call like the day before, usually Tuesday at 6 p.m., and if we know that there's a potential deferral or withdrawal, we do let people on the Zoom call know that that may potentially happen. But the same thing, we always tell them it may not. You know, like you just said.
Vice Chair?
Chair, for 129 years, since the city of Miami was founded, we've been doing it this way. And I haven't heard many complaints until recently that the same people that come here to every meeting to talk about something or other are the only ones that I'm hearing complaining. It is, as I think we discussed here, pretty much impossible to assure if an item is going to be deferred or not, because we would have to meet in order to accomplish that. So I don't see any other way but to keep doing it as we have for the city of Miami for 129 years.
Thank you. And on that note, I forgot to defer something. So may I have a motion to defer PZ4? I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Chair, to what date?
To the last meeting in April.
April 24th.
Is, Chair, if I may ask, are the meetings in April pretty heavy meetings, or do we have somewhat light meetings for
I am not sure. I had a draft agenda that was not so heavy, but I believe
It was fairly heavy for a draft agenda,
For the
and then
draft.
and then we just deferred a bunch of items from this meeting
So
to
it
the
will
April.
be.
The early meeting in April is going to probably be pretty heavy.
Okay. All right. So.
Okay. Now, we have our consent agenda items. Are there any items that you gentlemen would like to pull for discussion? That would be CA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, as CA 14 has been deferred until April 10th. Any of the CA items you would like to pull for discussion?
I will make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. City Clerk?
Thank you, Chair. CA 11.
I have it. As amended. CA 12 as amended. And that's just
CA
those two.
13.
Okay. So I have a motion and a second to approve CA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 as amended, 12 as amended, 13. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Gentlemen, of the PH items, are there any items that you would like to pull for discussion? And please make note that we cannot pass PH 13 until we address RE 13 and 14.
PH3, Madam Chair.
PH 3, I'm sorry.
I make a motion with the exception of the one item.
PH 3.
And I'll second.
I have a motion and a second.
hang on.
I'm waiting for you.
Just give me one moment here. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously for PH 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Thank you. We're on to our resolutions. Are there any of the resolution items that you gentlemen would like to pull for discussion? RE9 was withdrawn and RE10 is indefinitely deferred. RE21 is deferred until April 10th and RE23 is deferred until April 10th.
RE21 to April 10 and
10.
RE10
And-
indefinite deferred.
Yes.
Those are, I think, all the REs that have been withdrawn or deferred.
No, RE9 was
RE
withdrawn as well.
Withdrawn,
Commissioner.
okay.
And then RE23 was deferred to April 10th.
RE24, was that,
That's still in play.
that's still in play?
Still in play.
So I'd like to pull that one.
Okay, let's pull-
RE24.
Yeah, I was just going to
Okay,
say.
so let me make a motion for the rest of them.
Okay, I have a motion. Wait, hold on.
Chair, so
For indulgence, because
We need to do RE13 and 14 separate.
Yep, right.
Correct?
yes,
as well as RE18 and RE20 must be heard after RE14. So you may just want to start with RE13 individually, RE14, do PH3, and then you can get into the bulk vote for the remaining resolutions.
Okay, so may I have a resolution for RE13?
Move.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion for RE14 as amended?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, may we go back to PH3? May I have a motion for PH3?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Back to the resolutions. Now we can take up the rest, but for RE24.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Chair,
for-
Can you repeat that, 1, 2, can you repeat?
I'm
the-
going to do that.
Yeah.
I have it, Todd. So
We
we just passed RE 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 15, 16 as amended, 17 as amended, 18, 19 as amended, 20, 22, and 25.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and now we have RE 24.
oh, I'm sorry, there was a motion by Commissioner Cordero. Who seconded it?
Commissioner Cabela.
And the vote was 4-0, correct?
Yes.
Understood.
Okay, and now up for discussion is RE 24. Mr. City Attorney, if you could explain this.
So RE24 is a District 1 item, and essentially what this resolution would do, it came out of RE9, which was initially to suspend the payment of legal fees, but RE24 is to inform the City Commission whenever legal fees for outside counsel reach $150,000 in any new case. So any case filed on or before, after this date, March 13th, so basically all it is I would be obligated to inform the City Commission in the event that there is an outside counsel case related to conflict or expertise that exceeds $150,000 in attorney's fees, and just merely provide that information to you all as the commissioners.
And then what happens?
And then I've fulfilled my obligation. The only issue I have, as I mentioned in some of the briefings, is, two issues. One, $150,000, believe it or not, in this town, in the city of Miami, and Miami-Dade County generally, the rate of these lawyers, we could reach $150,000 rather quickly, as we have in the past. Many of the lawyers that handle these type of complex conflict cases charge in the range of $1,000 per hour. We often negotiate those rates down as low as we can in the $500, $600, $700 range, but that's the market, unfortunately. And by the way, that market makes it difficult for me to hire and retain people as well because the private sector pays so lucratively. But
through the chair, Weisong.
Yes, sir.
So what if that mark is not agreeable? What would be your the ideal mark?
Well, it's
if we had a mark.
Yeah, it's totally to the commission's discretion. If you find that the information is helpful, like I said, I have no problem with or without this resolution providing you with the information, which I can do now. So as far as what number would be preferable, I mean, we're talking big numbers, and the members of the public see these numbers and they think that they're incredibly large numbers. But, yeah, I mean, I would shoot at 500, as the manager indicated. I was going to go lower, but we shouldn't have cases that generally hit the $500,000 threshold. Very rare do we get cases that come this high. And I would also just sort of throw out that right now the city of Miami benefits from Chapter 768.28, which provides that for tort lawsuits against the city, there's a cap. There's a statutory cap, $200,000 per event, $200,000 per person, $300,000 per event. The Florida legislature is looking at increasing that to, in some cases, $1 million per claim. And that just shows you the realities of how cases in Florida have been trending to be on the high end. So I'm pretty comfortable with the $500,000 mark. That may be too high for you all, but I think that would be a good, reasonable mark to let you know that a case.
Through the chair, why can't you just speak to commissioners and whatever amount each commissioner would want to be informed of, if they want to be informed, you just inform each commissioner individually on the amount that they want to reach a cap in, and they can be informed. Just like we could ask at any time now, but this way you know that each commissioner would like to be informed in any new cases where it reaches a cap of X amount on each commissioner.
I agree, and for a period of time there was a running public records request from an outside entity asking us, how much are we paying for outside counsel? So we've been providing that information to folks. You have my commitment that I'll provide you whatever numbers you want to receive. I'm anticipating one of your colleagues is going to say, but what happens when George Weisong is not the city attorney? So they might want to formalize it. But
the city attorney will always be, we will always be your supervisor, whoever you are.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Commissioner Pardo would like to say something.
Actually, that's me. I think, and Commissioner Gabella as well, I think it's important to have a trigger that just brings our attention to it. And just as a matter of policy, I think it's a good idea that we have a resolution that brings it before us so that we ensure that we're all advised and that we all can take appropriate action.
So I do.
Can I?
Go ahead.
Are you all done?
I didn't speak yet.
Oh.
No, but I'm going to let you. Go ahead.
So what I was going to counter is, George, that I heard what you had to say, and that, in legal bills, that's a very small number, you know what I mean? Like, just like in politics, months or years and years or decades, right? I got it. But here's the problem. When we got to approve above 25,000, we got to come in front of this, you see what I'm saying? And here we're dealing with that. So you're saying to us that, over $25,000, it's a big deal. You got to come in front of the commission, and now you're saying that, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I just think it's a great way to keep the public informed. I also heard what Commissioner Garolio had to say. maybe we can reach a consensus somewhere in the middle. I don't know. But, I, for one, I mean, do we know how much, without talking about anybody in specific, how much does our legal, I'm not going to say obligations, but our legal spending of outside counsel as a percentage to our, is it a very low number as compared to?
Are you saying to the city budget or to
in comparison to the city budget, in comparison to your office, that, for example, what's your budget? Your budget is what a year?
Hold on.
I mean, ballpark, roughly.
Yeah, no. 9 million. It's approximately 9 million.
9 million, and that's to cover, I imagine, all the attorneys you have on staff.
That's the up to 35 lawyers that I have, as well as up to 35 staff, paralegals, legal assistants, office staff, etc.
Right,
and I'm still in need of a what I call a super litigator in the range of $250,000. So if there's any super litigators out there that would like to volunteer to come to the city of Miami and work very hard on very interesting cases, we'll be more than happy to accept you.
So apart from that, my point is this: so your budget on a yearly basis is 9 million,
right?
And that covers 35 attorneys, I heard you say, and 35 staff. Is that correct?
Approximately, yeah.
Approximately, okay, more or less. And we spent, I know, a lot more than that on legal bills.
Well,
okay?
Bear in mind,
on outside counsel. I'm sorry, on outside counsel.
Understood, yeah. Just bear in mind, and that those cases span many years as well. So when you look at the aggregate, that may be a 5. I don't know when those cases were filed, but I think we're at least 3 or 4 years in. I have Deputy City Attorney Jones, who's my deputy of litigation with me.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Okay, so it's a difficult sort of question to answer in regard to the evaluation between what we spend on legal fees in-house when we can handle a case, as opposed to where there's a conflict and we have to get counsel outside of our office, right? So there are many factors that go into it. You just really can't just look at the number because, for example, some of the cases you're talking about, the demand, the public demand, nothing that's confidential, was in the $40 million range. I mean, we've had cases here where the other side has asked for $30 million. And so oftentimes what's going to dictate the cost of the defense is the complexity of the case. You understand that? Your average trip and fall or something like that is not going to require those kind of resources to defend it. And if there is no conflict in the case, we have cases where people are asking for $50 million or $80 million. We can keep that in-house, and you don't have to deal with the cost of the defense on outside counsel. But in order to really assess whether or not you're spending too much on outside counsel, you've got to look at the case. And if we look historically, the cases where we have been in the seven, right, we've been in the seven figures, like $40 or $50 million or $30 million, those fees have always been in the millions. So it's a very difficult comparison to make. I understand what you're looking for. You're trying to say, hey, we got you guys at $9 million, and you guys handle all these different cases, and that is true. And we handle 90% of the cases that come to the city. The only cases, and maybe that's the reason why they've garnered so much attention, is the only cases that really filter up are the ones that where you have to get outside counsel and there's a conflict. Now, in those cases you're talking about, the three, there are, on both sides, I think at last count were 18 lawyers, from across multiple law firms. And it wasn't because that was an overreach by the people we engage. It's they're responding to the tenor and efforts of the plaintiff, which you have to do in any litigation, right? If they staff it with 6 or 7 lawyers plus paralegals or whatever it is, you have to do the same because you're generating that volume of legal work. Right?
So let me just say this. I realize we're 2-2 now. I know where you stand. I know where Commissioner Carollo stands. I know where you stand. And I know where I stand. And Mr. Commissioner Reyes, with all due respect, is out. So I think we should defer this and maybe have a future consensus because I don't think we have the votes, if we wanted to, for you and I to pass this, right? And so I asked, maybe we come back with another set of proposals that somehow gets us so we're all comfortable with. I mean,
So if I may, I'm comfortable with the $500,000 threshold because I do understand with complex litigation, et cetera, and I know that attorneys will, billable hours are something else. I bill, and I'm not a practicing attorney now. Maybe I'll take a case here or there, but I bill at $500 an hour, and that's low today. That is low.
so in that case, motion to pass 500K.
So wait a minute, I haven't finished. Also, as the only practitioner here, I'm having some difficulty with items that have been placed on the agenda without disclaimers from the city attorney's office. And I would like us to consider doing something about that. Where an item is placed on the agenda that clearly flies in the face of the law, I would like the city attorney's office to put a disclaimer, not just for each of us, but for the community, that says, is not legally sufficient, runs afoul of Florida statute, runs afoul of Ordinance X, whatever that law is, so that we all know, I know because I'm a practitioner, but it upsets me that the city attorney's office puts items on the agenda that are not legally sufficient, are not legal, is in violation of the law, and we have to consider it without having that information. As a practitioner, although I am not representing myself as an attorney, but as an elected official here on this dais, I can still be held responsible by the Florida bar if I pass any legislation that is not legal. And that's a problem. And I need to, I need you guys to do something about that, because there have been items that were proposed that were not legal. And I'm not voting on anything that I know is not legal. And I don't think that the public should not be aware that the items that were presented are not legal. They should know as well. So I understand, because I asked, it is our responsibility as commissioners to direct the city attorney's office. Last commission meeting, I said we should not be providing agenda items without giving the required 7-day notice, so the legal department can do its due diligence, review it, and give feedback, unless the item is of some urgent matter, like with pocket items. I will not accept a pocket item if it is not time sensitive or of an urgent matter. And I think we should pass some legislation to require the city attorney's office to not punt by not writing anything, and that's what he's doing now. If it is not legally sufficient, he just doesn't sign it. And that's not fair. That's not fair to the community, and it's not fair to us.
Could I just make one defensive comment, which is we don't put those items on the agenda. You had indicated that the city attorney places items. We
You don't. I know you don't put it on the agenda, but it is your responsibility to review them for legal sufficiency, and you can put. And there's all kind of tricky ways for lawyers to write something. You could say approved as to form. What does that mean? The grammar is correct.
Right.
As to form, approved as to legal sufficiency, or blank. And you guys, you can state for the record, what are the Florida statute or the Florida bar rules that say, although I am an elected official, as an attorney, if I pass something that I know is legally sufficient, I can be sanctioned by the Florida bar. Is that true? I know it is, but I just want you to say it.
Let me just say, as in law, it depends.
It's not as depends. There have been lawyers that have gotten in trouble as elected officials for actions that they have taken and they know weren't correct.
I was just going to comment, recently somebody tried to complain against the mayor, and that complaint was dismissed by the Florida Bar, but because they recognized the political nature of the
Yeah, but that was a
complaint.
silly complaint. That should have never been
But,
filed.
but
We're not
you're
talking
right.
about silly complaints.
Right, you have a fiduciary duty,
Sorry,
and
which,
yes,
if
sir.
I may ask, Chair, Mr. City Attorney, what complaint was that? What complaint was that?
There was a complaint filed against the mayor relating to the Miami Freedom Park, the $20 million resolution. There was a complaint filed with the Florida Bar, and the Florida Bar just yesterday or the day before, dismissed the complaint, saying it was not a substantive complaint.
That was a complaint by former Commissioner Russell
Yes,
against
sir.
the mayor. And it got thrown out that quickly?
Yes, sir.
Boy, I've never seen the Florida Bar throw a complaint out that quickly. It must have been a real whopper.
Madam Chair, on RE24, though, this conversation doesn't apply to that, right?
Oh, I have not. What? What do you?
It's legal. RE24 is legally sufficient.
Oh, yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
No, no, it doesn't apply to RE20. No, it doesn't apply to RE24. But I do not think it's unreasonable for us to let the community know, or for the commission as a whole to be notified of outside counsel suits that reach a certain threshold. I don't think that's unreasonable. But what I do think would be unreasonable if, at that point, somebody says, oh, okay, we're not going to do anything else. I don't think you legally could. Once you start defending a claim, you can't just pull it back. So I don't know if you guys, if you want to go with deferring it, or you want to, whatever the will of the body.
No, I just heard you say so. What I said was I can count, right? And Commissioner Reyes is not here. I know where Commissioner Carrillo stands. I know where you stand on that one because you made it.
You don't.
Okay, go ahead.
You don't
Please,
on this one.
maybe you changed your mind.
We were talking. The city manager suggested $500,000. The chair seemed to be in agreement with that. You open it up, to see if we had a consensus.
Yes.
If it's $500,000, I'll vote along with it.
So
it's a start. I mean, I think it will be a start. So if we're
So
all, yes,
we
I
have
so
a-
motion to,
The only thing I just want to stay on the record is the following. The last thing that any of us should want to do, because we have a fiduciary responsibility to the city, is to give a leg up to those that just want to have the city of Miami be a piñata for their pockets. And what am I talking about? It is so easy, like I have seen recently, because all these lawsuits that we talk about, they're coming from the same individuals, just in different forms. So they try to dress it up differently, but they're coming from the same individuals. For instance, an example of what I'm going to be talking to you now about. Yesterday, the 3rd District Court of Appeals that is hearing an appeal from some of these individuals that they lost against me, trying to throw me out of office at the lower court, just threw out another request to them to hear that appeal that they've let set there for 5 months in an expedited basis. And when you have individuals that are putting one motion after another for the purpose of forcing attorney's fees to go up, and then they lose and they're challenging everything in numerous times, you could get up to that $500,000 pretty quick. And if they're doing it with the intentions of purposely trying to see how they could get the city to cave in on the demands that they make, then we're not doing the city a service for that. And that's all that I want to say, that we need to be attentive of that, not to make it easier for individuals to do that to the city. Otherwise, anyone knows that all they got to do is just get an attorney to sue us. They throw enough motions. They force the city to pay fees on frivolous motions that they're filing in court, etc. And those fees get up there real quick. And while it's happening to some of us now, tomorrow it could happen to some of you. It could happen to anyone in the future that sits in this dais.
Okay, I'd just like to comment, and you're correct, and this is the reason why I want to do it, because we have a fiduciary duty to the taxpayer. We have a fiduciary duty to the taxpayer. We must be transparent with the taxpayers so they know where their money's going, and that's why I'm doing it. You know, now, by the same token, we have to be responsible at sometimes for our actions, you know, and you're right. You know, you might be sued, I might be sued you're absolutely right on that. I mean, you know, but the whole thing is there's got to be some kind of, you know, limit. There's got to be some kind of, you know, threshold. You know,
Commissioner, I'm fine deferring it too if you want. I mean, there's more discussion to be had.
If you guys want to have more discussion, I'd be happy to have more discussions.
I'm ready to vote on it.
I think 500K, I'm going to go along with it because something is better than nothing. I think I would be more inclined to do 250, 300,000. But if this is the will and this is what we have motion to do that on 500 on a 500K limit. Thank you.
So it's
500,000.
RE 24
for all new cases.
as amended. All in favor?
Wait. No. Not for all new cases.
That's what he says.
For new cases and existing cases. Because the cases that we have might well go into the 500, over the 500,000.
What it says here.
Yeah.
The way it was drafted was all new
cases.
Yeah, that's exactly the way it was drafted.
Okay, let me just, if you were permitting me. So my point is, okay, we're now involved in litigation as Commissioner Carrillo was talking about, and he's basically talking about the gentleman on 8th Street. That's what he's saying. Without saying the name, he said the name before. Anyway, that's what he's referring to. Those cases are still pending now. Okay, so I want to see those cases and it's not targeted at you. It could be that one. It could be another one. But cases that are current now and new cases.
Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
When you have cases that have been going on since 2018, of course they're going to be over 500,000. When you have cases that they have filed basically the same lawsuit in 3 different times, and who knows if they might try to come back and file it a 4th time before federal courts for the same thing. I mean, it's going to go above that. Now, if what you guys want to do is to show that so much has been spent on defending me or anybody else here on these individuals, you could get the information, you have it all, from the city attorney's office. We don't have to go through this charade.
No, but we do. We do have to go through the charade because here's why we have to go through the charade. Because number one, it's the taxpayers' money. I wonder if some of us here would take this to the end, if it was our money that's being spent. You know, I would say to you respectfully, tell you what, use some of that PAC money that you have on the 1.7 million that you're keeping for your campaign. If you run for mayor, and instead of spending the taxpayer money, spend that money if you're so willing to, you know, that if you believe you got a case and you're going to win against these people, and I don't know one way or the other, then use your money. But to use the taxpayer money and to say, oh, it doesn't matter because no, I'm not going for that. I'll go for the 500,000, but existing cases and new cases. If not, we're not doing anything. With all due respect.
You changed the wording of what you put down originally, and Mr. City Attorney, there is a Florida Supreme Court case that goes right into the issue that he's talking about. And it's clear that these people know, first of all, they're petrified because the first week in June, we go for oral arguments that the appellate federal court has given me, and they know they're going to lose it, and the case against me is going to be overturned. On the 21st of this month, approximately 10 individuals that they have sued in the city, besides the city of Miami, in the same case that they didn't have a right to sue on, because it's the same case, We are supposed to file our last motions before Judge Moreno, and they know that this all going to be thrown out. It's been thrown out twice before. This is the last one they get. So they're trying to use every pressure that they can so the city would cave in, and there will be a majority here saying, let's give them millions of dollars so we could resolve this. And what is trying to be done to me is so that, and not just to me, but the city of Miami, is for attorney's fees to be pulled, so then the city is forced to negotiate and give them millions of dollars. Now, you talked about PAC money. Why don't you show you and Mr. Pardo your PAC monies in your PACs and how much these individuals have put of their money in your PACs? If we want to talk about PACs.
Okay, let's talk. Can I talk about PAC? Let's talk about PAC.
Okay, hold on a second.
Let's talk
Now,
about PAC.
we have crossed into a line where I'm going to have to really be chair and allow each person to speak. One, I'm going to caution that talking about PACs and PAC money has moved away from this item. We have moved away from this item, and I have an issue when discussions turn personal, where we started off good, where this is not personal, this is not about any individual. It is counterproductive for us to sit here going back and forth about stuff that is not city business. And it's not city business to discuss PACs and who has a PAC and how much money is in a PAC and who is doing what with who's PAC. Notice that I'm never in that conversation because I don't do that. Now, again, with these lawsuits, if we could take the personalities out of our agenda item, take personality out, and create good legislation for the city of Miami. You know, any one of us could be subject to a lawsuit. Any one of us. While practicing, I was suing the county, just as an example. The county bombarded me with discovery in boxes that no way I could get through. You don't understand this unless you're a lawyer, how the fees pile up, how an attorney will file motion after motion after motion just because they can, just because they're a big firm, just because the city of Miami has what they think are deep pockets. That's not the fault of any one of us. That is the way the legal system works. So if we can steer our conversations, to the item and not divulge into a personal attack on each other, I'd be glad to talk about this forever. I'm kidding. Commissioner Pardo would like to make a statement.
Before I forget, because there's a lot of things. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Gabella, with a smile.
Yes, ma'am, with your permission, through the chair. So, number one, I am fully aware, I've been a business person all my life, and I do business decisions, all my life in my business, my wife and I have. And what you're talking about, I remember quite well. You're right. I remember quite well when my house was removed from my district. City of Miami was paying for it because there was a gentleman, my opponent, that wanted me out of the area, okay? And I remember that well because I had to go to court 3 times, and we won 3 times against the city. Even when I was a city commissioner already, okay, there was a lawsuit still, okay? Lawsuit still on the last appeal, which the city of Miami lost. And I don't know how much you spent on that, but I think it was a pretty substantial amount of money. So I do know what that means, I've been there, okay? Number 2, okay, the reason I mentioned the PAC, and by the way, let me answer to your question. No, I have not received PAC money. I just had a fundraiser on the 5th, I think, and go look at my records and see if I received it. And if I have, so what? Big deal. You receive money from other people that, give you, me, whatever. I mean, nobody here is a saint, okay? Let's go there, okay? But I have not, just for your information. And I don't have $1.7 million like you do. You know what I mean? I have 100-something, whatever the case may be. But the point I'm trying to make is the fiduciary duty that we have. So let's keep it civil, okay? The fiduciary, this is never what has happened here in the past, okay, between you, Commissioner Carollo, and the A Street Boys, as you call them, hasn't happened before, with anybody. So this, and I understand you. Okay, it happens. It might happen to me in the future, but I don't see a lawsuit with him. I don't see a lawsuit with me. I don't see a lawsuit with you. I don't see, I see you, and I see in the millions of dollars, and because it's the nature of where we're at and what has happened. I don't know whether you're right, they're right. And I imagine it's somewhere 50-50 in the middle. But the point is that the bleeding needs to stop. The bleeding needs to stop. Okay, and why do I say that? Because when my residents out there in District 1 ask me, hey, Gabriela, what about the street? What about this? You know what I mean? What about that? Why are we spending millions of dollars on lawsuits? Because they listen to the radio? Okay, I got to give them an answer, okay? And we got to act up here, like responsible citizens that we are, that we hold the whole spring, the purse strings to the citizens' money, the taxpayer, and that's why I'm doing this. I don't think 500K does it, but I'll go along with it. However, existing with me, it's existing cases and future cases. That's what I'm voting on. If you guys want to, join me, let me know, and if you don't, I'll just defer it to another moment, and that's it. I'm done.
That's not what the resolution.
Commissioner, hold on.
I don't know what the resolution. I didn't write the resolution, Carollo.
Hold on. Commissioner Pardo would like to speak.
Yeah, I completely agree with your point of view, Commissioner Gabella, in the sense, and I wanted to add, this is about notification. This isn't the denial of a payment. So why not? I mean, it's good practice, because if it triggers, let's say, using $500,000, there's more eyes on it, and it takes us to another place, which is maybe a potential settlement, as opposed to continuing the clock on that cost running. So it's a different way of thinking, and it's one that, from a fiduciary aspect, represents the residents better. So I'm in favor of exactly what you're proposing.
So I think the trigger here was that your resolution, although you said you didn't write it, it reads...
No, I mean, the legal team wrote it.
Okay, but the resolution reads new cases, and you wanted it to include
I'm not
all
going along with it.
But you wanted it to include all cases.
Yes.
I think that was the trigger,
Yes,
which
it
was no fault of any of us here,
No.
and you were unaware of your resolution saying new cases. So maybe it can be deferred, and we go back and fix that. And now that you know what his intent was, go back and fix that, and then we could move on.
Okay,
So
so
do we have
motion to defer.
I have a motion to defer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And is that to the April 10th or April 24th meeting?
April 24th.
Understood.
Just because we have a lot going on the April 10th, no other reason.
No problem.
Okay. We have one person here who would like to give a report on a board, Mr. Bill Ramos, the chair of the Housing and Commercial Loan Committee. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Ms. Chairman, city commissioners, and city staff. I'm here this morning as part of the process. I'm the chairman of the City of Miami Housing Commercial Loan Committee. I have for a few years. We meet in these chambers about every 6 weeks to take a look at grant funding and approve them, and just and we have a great committee. One of the committee members is David Snow. He helps us from the city with city planning and zoning. So for fiscal year 23-24, we've granted 1,585 affordable units through the city. That's $69 million. Sounds like a lot, $69 million in 1584, but we know the need is so big that we're trying to get as much done as we can. One of the things that, as chairman, that we look at these numbers, 1,584, is that how many, I don't have a metric really to look at the city on an annual basis to see how many units are actually being built that are affordable. Everything in the city talks about, the many buildings that are going up. Most of them are not affordable. So I would suggest to the committee that somehow we would be able to get that measuring metric. Because, for example, in Edgewater, buildings are knocked down for pretty frequently with affordable units. And they're knocked down to put up large buildings which are not affordable. So we're losing, let's say, 50 units at one point, and then we gain a few hundred more, but they're not affordable. So I'd make that recommendation. And then, of course, I know that the city is trying to remove as many barriers as possible to make some of the small developers, the small owners, able to build. Because what we get a lot of is 150 unit, 100 unit buildings. There's many small lots, Little Havana, etc., that they could build 8 units, 6 units, 10 units, and it would be beautiful infill for the city. So anyway, I'm proud to say that I think the committee really contributes a lot to the city, all the committee members, and we're proud of doing it this year with 1,584 units. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. Otherwise, have a good day, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Is there anyone else here who has a report that would like to make a report? Okay. Mr. City Attorney, would you please read the titles of the second reading ordinances for the record?
Yes, Madam Chair. SR1.
Wait, let me ask. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. SR1, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 22, Article 2 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, is amended, titled Garbage and Other Solid Waste, Regulation of Persons Engaged in Commercial Waste Collection, providing for an additional requirement that franchisees also be required to remove bulky trash from contract properties, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. SR2, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission establishing Chapter 52 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended City Code, titled Special Events, to provide a chapter dedicated to special events, updating definitions and regulations to such special events, and consolidating regulations currently in Chapter 54 and 62 of the City Code, further amending Chapter 54, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended City Code, titled Streets and Sidewalks in general, to delete regulations related to special events to be codified in Chapter 52 of the City Code, and clarifying definitions, further repealing Chapter 62, Article 13, Division 1 of the City Code, titled Planning and Zoning approval for temporary uses and occupancies, permit required temporary events, to delete regulations related to special event regulations and temporary event permit to be codified in the Chapter 52 of the City Code, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. SR3, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 36, Section 4 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Noise, Operation of Radios, Phonographs, or Other Sound-Making Devices, bands, orchestras, and musicians generally, to provide for City Commission waiver for special occasions and occasions on city-owned, operated, or leased properties and facilities containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. SR4, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission renaming the City of Miami-owned park consisting of approximately 155,700 square feet, currently known as Henderson Park, and located at 971 Northwest 2th Street, Miami, Florida, folio number 01413800300690 as Ruben Dario Park, amending Chapter 38, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, is amended, titled Parks and Recreations generally, by creating Section 3838, titled Naming of Ruben Dario Park, further repealing Chapter 38, Article 1, Section 3829 of the City Code, titled Naming of Ruben Dario Park, to remove duplicative park namings, further directing the city manager to take any and all actions necessary to effectuate the naming of the park, containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date.
Thank you. Gentlemen, are there any of these items that you would like to pull for discussion?
SR3 for clarification. And I'll make a motion for the remaining SR items.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Chair, my apologies.
I know. SR1 as amended.
Yep.
I made note, Todd. Who can give us clarity on the waiver for special occasions?
And let me, if I can, Chair,
Go
one
ahead.
of my D items for discussion had to do with what I'm going to address in this item. I'm concerned of the noise coming from city property on issues that we're dealing with in this SR3. You've had in the past a lot of noise coming from the Watson Island area. You've had noise coming from Bayside. You've had noise coming from the Marine Stadium that has affected residents from time to time. And I want to make sure that this is not going to be a free-for-all where individuals are going to have the right to have parties until late hours of the night, that music's going to be blasting, and particularly when you're near the water, that travels much further than you normally would when you're in land. And then in the area closer to downtown, in Bayside, you're really close up to a lot of buildings. And of course, in Watson Island, we have had problems there for many years, off and on.
Mr. City Attorney?
I believe I can attempt to clarify. There's two sections in Chapter 36 of the City Code that relate to noise. 36-4, operation of radios, phonographs, or other sound-making devices, bands, orchestra, and musicians. And 36-5, same hours of operation for jukeboxes, radios, etc. In 36-4, there's a provision that says basically the noise requirements apply. All of the above and foregoing shall not apply to city-sponsored activities and events held in or upon any city-owned facility or city property, period. When you look at 36-5, that language reads a little bit differently, which says all of the above and foregoing shall not apply to city-sponsored events and events held in or upon any city-owned facility or city-owned property. This exemption shall not apply to any tenant of a city-owned facility or city-owned property. So the extra protection was added in 36-5, which says the exemption shall not apply to any tenant of a city-owned facility or other city-owned property. And many of you have probably received complaints of city-owned property where there's a tenant on there, and the response has been, it's city-owned, there's nothing we can do about it. This amendment adds that extra language that says this exemption shall not apply to any tenant of a city-owned facility or city-owned property. So even though the city owns it, but we're renting it out, then the code will apply to them. So it actually makes it a little bit more restrictive and better.
If I could, Chair, basically the law that we had changed a couple of years back will stay. It's not going to be affected by people at least. This is only going to affect those that are going to rent the space
from the city,
for X amount of time?
Yes, sir.
And then how will that work?
So basically, if, say, there's a tenant of, I'm managing expectations because I think I know where you're going. It's city-owned property, so we don't lien our own property, right? But we will be able to cite them with a noise violation if they are a tenant of our property and take whatever actions we can take to eliminate the noise.
I'm saying if they're not.
If they're not a tenant, then
we lease the land to for a weekend, let's say.
If they're not the city of Miami, all the noise regulations apply to them.
I'm not saying city of Miami. I'm saying still property that belongs to the city of Miami.
Right.
But we've agreed to lease the property for a weekend or a week or whatever amount of time.
Right. Yeah, so if the city owns it outright, the noise ordinance doesn't apply. If the city owns it and we lease it to somebody, they're a tenant of ours, then the noise ordinance applies. But I guess if it's on a T, that would be part of the temporary event permit.
That's what I'm talking about.
That would be the way to enforce it.
The city owns the property outright, and it's not leased on a permanent basis, but we lease it for a weekend. Does it apply or not? And if it doesn't apply, how do we deal with it to protect residents?
Right. So that's an excellent question because they wouldn't be a tenant necessarily. So the way we would resolve that is a special events department section unit, would put in the temporary event permit, you must abide by the noise regulations in Chapter 36. It will lead to a revocation of your permit, that sort of thing. So that's how we would have
Will
to
it come before the commission?
Typically, TEPs do not go in front of the commission.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commissioners. The purpose behind
unless
this
there's a
waiver
waiver.
is to ensure that anybody that is renting, because well, you brought up a great point. If the property is ours, Watson Island, still our property, it's being subleased to a third party, but then they are then renting it out to somebody else. As part of SR2, which is the creation of the new code, we are limiting their ability to do anything on city property, any outdoor music festival or noise-generating events, concerts, music festivals, till 11 p.m. Now, if the commission, if they wish to extend beyond that, because the way that the code 36.4 is written right now, there is no means for the commission to grant a noise waiver on public property. The only written means that that the commission can currently grant that is on private property, which is actually you're doing it right now for the 4 weekends, which is fine, it's great. So now we are by code limiting those events to 11 p.m. And if they want to go past 11 p.m. on those specific properties, they got to come to the commission and you can approve it.
Okay,
you can make those decisions.
That was going to be hopefully the last question that I need to make, that it will come to the commission where residents that might be affected would be able to address the commission on it, and it will be up to the commission to approve any extension of ours.
That's correct.
Okay, I'm fine. I'll make the motion on it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion now to accept SR 1, 2, 3, and 4 with SR 1 as amended. I have a motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. And now we have one item, Mr. City Attorney, FR 1, if you can read.
Yes, Madam Chair. FR1, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 2 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, is amended titled Administration, Boards, Committees, Commission, Standards for Creation and Review of Boards Generally, to establish Section 2-896 to be titled Appointment of Members, to provide that the appointment of board members shall occur on a quarterly basis unless there is a time-sensitive appointment necessary, at which time an appointment will be placed on the next available City Commission agenda, containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date.
Move.
I have a motion.
Second.
What are we actually voting on, people?
FR 1.
No, I know, but what?
Oh, so you know our long list of boards and committees that come up, I believe, the first of every month, but we don't always have an appointment. So instead of every month, it'll come quarterly.
Got it.
And
I'm
but
down.
if you have an emergency or an
Right.
appointment, then we can bring it at
No,
any
I'm
time.
down. I'm down.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. City Clerk, do we have any appointments to our boards and committees today?
Yes, ma'am. BC 5, Climate Resilience Committee. Mayor Suarez will be appointing Barbara Bisno to his vacant seat under the real estate development category.
Move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
BC 6, Code Enforcement Board. Commissioner Gabella will be appointing Juan Galan to the alternate at-large vacant seat.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
BC 17, Off-Street Parking Board. The Off-Street Parking Board is seeking confirmation of Thomas Jelke, and for the record, I'll be submitting into the record a signed memo and resolution provided by the board.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
BC 22, Virginia Key Beach Park Trust. Chairwoman King will be reappointing Vincent Brown and Bonita Jones Peabody.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That concludes the boards and committees. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Let's take up our PZ items. Mr. City Attorney, would you please read the titles into the record for PZ 1, 2,
Well, we have,
and 3? We're going to come back to the discussion items.
Okay, I think 2 are deferred out of the 3, right?
Yes, D2 and D3 have been deferred. Mr. City Attorney, if you could read the titles into the record.
Yes, Madam Chair. PZ1 is a second reading ordinance, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended Miami 21 Code by amending Article 7, Section 7.2, titled Nonconformities, Structures, Uses, Lots, Site Improvements, and Signs, to provide for reestablishment of specific purpose design structures that are locally designated historic sites or contributing structures in an historic district for the uses in which they were designed by warrant, and for reestablishment of specific purpose design structures that are 50 years old or older by process of exception, making findings containing a severability clause, and providing for an effective date. PZ2 is a first reading ordinance, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended Miami 21 Code, specifically by amending Appendix P, Wynwood Norte Neighborhood Revitalization District 2, NRD2, by amending Section 2 titled Purpose and Intent to replace the T4 demolition bond requirements with a new process, by amending Section 4 titled Standards and Tables to clarify parking and loading requirements, and by amending Section 5 titled Specific to Zones to update design standards relating to lot coverage, balconies, floor plates, minimum building height, cross-block passages, and architectural requirements, making findings containing a severability clause, and providing for an effective date. PZ3 is a resolution. And
Motion.
Second.
Anyone want to have discussions on PZ 1, 2, or 3? No? Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. I didn't realize that I had to do this report, but I am the chair of the AHAC committee, the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. So I need to make a report. Let me give you just a quick report. We met, and the 2025 annual report is as follows, that the committee passed, which is basically that we are following the incentives and were approved and recommended by the advisory committee, which are expedited permitting, reduction setback requirements, impact fee deferral, allowance of flexibility in densities and intensities, i.e. FAR, and review of legislation, policy, and plans that impact affordable housing. And we're working very hard to make sure that affordable housing is, as it states, affordable housing in the city of Miami. Thank you. Now, Commissioner?
No, I was going to read D4 and D5.
You're going to
No, I'm waiting because those are the last ones.
Yeah, that's what
I thought you had forgotten.
No, I'm going right to that now. So we have discussion item 1, annual report, boards and committees.
DI1 has been discussed?
It's been discussed.
Yes.
Okay. 3, protection of residential property, DI4.
3, I discussed it.
No. 3 was deferred.
Excuse me, the D4, you correct?
Oh, you discussed it?
That was discussed in the previous one. That's what I wanted to touch.
That was discussed.
Particular
D3?
property.
D4, sorry, D4?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, D4 was going to be part of what was brought up in the noise ordinance.
Okay.
So it's been taken care of there. And D5, I will defer it so that we could finish the meeting.
Okay, so I have a motion to defer D5.
Motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
To what meeting?
To which
You
meeting?
could do it for the 2nd in April, since,
April 24th?
yeah, since the next one is pretty busy, as I'm told.
And that shall, wait, no,
Sure.
I cannot conclude the meeting because we have, got two
There's-
hands up. I know we have attorney-client session, and that's what you were going to say. So the meeting will be in recess now.
So, Madam Chair, let me make a suggestion. Because Commissioner Reyes is not here, and we would have to brief him individually only, if you all desire, we can cancel the attorney-client shade meeting and just brief you individually.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
So it's up to you. If you want to have the shade meeting, we've got the court reporter, we're ready to go. If not,
It's
and we'd
the will of my colleagues. What would you guys like?
I would prefer to do it in person with all the attorneys so I can be fully informed as from me. I'm speaking for me,
individually or as
no, the majority. Majority. However, I do understand, out of respect for Commissioner Reyes, that so I wouldn't want to exclude him from any, anything. But I'll go along with whatever you guys want. But that's my perspective.
Do we want to do it for our next meeting? Have it for the next meeting?
Well, you got a pretty busy meeting next meeting, so.
We are.
Greetings to the kid, Madam Chair, and members of the commission. So we have a deadline for March 31st. That's sort of the reason why we planned it for today.
Okay.
But to Commissioner Gabella's concern, if you were to elect individual briefings, the lawyers would still show up. It would, instead of it just being.
Ooh, but
No,
that clock would be ticking.
I want to hear what my colleagues have to say.
I do too.
I want to be in the same room.
I do too.
Listening to the whole thing. I don't want anybody to tell me that he said, she said. No. I'm done with that.
Okay.
Respectfully.
So do you want to go to the attorney-client meeting now, or do you want to have lunch and then go?
Lunch and then go, whatever.
Well, it's up to you guys. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, outside counsel who's handling this apparently will be here at 2, so.
I see.
apologize.
They don't understand the efficiency of the City of Miami Commission.
Caught us by surprise, Madam Chair.
Okay, so the meeting is now in recess until 2:30. We'll resume with the city attorney's statement for the attorney-client privilege at 2:30. I think.
Commission, Chairwoman, I thought we were done with the regular commission meeting.
We are. I have to recess because we have the attorney-client session. Come downstairs, say we are resumed and going to the attorney-client session. And then when the attorney-client session is over, I come down and say the meeting is concluded.
And the manager and I are not part of this.
You're excused from this one, yes.
Okay.
Very good. So we'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay. Have a good one. Okay. The meeting is now in recess.